At the start of the drama, we see an orphanage in which the female lead, Feli, lives. Feli is a very sweet, kind, hardworking, and intelligent girl who is the oldest among all the children in this orphanage. That's why she is doing all the work of the orphanage. Just then, Feli's online friends were wishing her because today was Feli's birthday. In the next scene, Feli makes fried rice for all the children and then distributes it to all of them because Feli considers these children to be her everything. After this, Feli gets ready and starts to leave for her job. Just then, she meets the orphanage's owner, Miss Ida, who wanted to wish Feli a proper happy birthday, but Feli was already quite late, so she says sorry and leaves from there. When Feli goes to her workplace, her boss gets very angry at her there. In the next scene, we see a rich man whose name is Mr. Johan, who is waiting for Feli. As soon as Feli arrives, Mr. Johan asks her, "How do I look?" Feli understands that today Mr. Johan has a meeting with an important person, so she tells him about his look. Then Feli asks, "Mr. Johan, why do you always ask me about your look? Is there no other person in your house who can tell you about your look?" So Mr. Johan says, "Well, I have 4 sons, but they don't give as good advice as you do, and my wife has passed away, so I ask you about my appearance because you are like a daughter to me." Hearing this, Feli becomes quiet. After a little while, Feli gets a message. "The scholarship for which you had applied has been rejected." Seeing this, Feli becomes quite sad, but just then, the children from the orphanage come to wish Feli a happy birthday. Along with them, everyone else also starts wishing Feli a happy birthday. Seeing this, Feli becomes very happy and also a little worried. That's why she says to the children, "Why are you all wishing me here? We will all celebrate together at the orphanage." So the children say, "When we wish you at the orphanage, you get sad and start crying. That's why we thought we would wish you here." Hearing this, Feli becomes happy that her brothers and sisters care so much about her. Just then, Feli's boss comes there and starts scolding Feli and fires her from the job. But just then, Mr. Johan hears all of this there, and he comes and wishes Feli a happy birthday. And then he asks Feli's boss, "Is there some problem?" Hearing this, that boss gets scared because Mr. Johan was a very rich man. That's why she starts acting nice and doesn't fire Feli from the job either. In the next scene, Feli is looking at her presents. Among them is one gift from Miss Ida. So Feli thanks her and says, "I still feel very sorry because I haven't become independent yet. That's why it feels like I am a burden on all of you." So Miss Ida says, "No, it's not like that at all. In fact, you are a favorite of all of us." So Feli says, "I have waited a long time for my parents to come back, so now, whoever comes to adopt me, I will go." Hearing this, Miss Ida becomes happy because she also wanted for a long time for Feli to find a good family. After this, Feli is sitting and talking with Miss Ida. Just then, she gets a message, which Feli reads and becomes very happy and hugs Miss Ida. And she tells her, "Finally, my admission request has been accepted by the school, which is the richest and best school in all of Indonesia, where outsiders can get admission only because of good grades." Hearing this, Miss Ida becomes very happy. And then Feli says, "Going there, I will also meet my old friend because she also studies in the same school." In the next scene, Feli is going to school. In that school, all the students were going to school by car. Only Feli was there who was going to school on foot. But Feli becomes very happy. Just then, a car comes from behind, with which Feli was about to have an accident. But Feli is saved and starts yelling loudly at the person in that car. And this car was not a normal car, but the car of the 4 rich princes, who, along with being very handsome, rich, and famous, were also very spoiled. And they are all real brothers. Now we see the male lead, whose name was Raga, who was the eldest brother among these 4. Just then, a student stops Raga, whose name was Hema, and he says, "How many times have I stopped you people from parking your car here?" So Raga says, "Look towards the board. What is written there? We 4 princes can park our cars here." So Hema looks towards the board and says, "I know you people had this written, but I will not listen to a word you say. Move your car quickly, or I will have this car thrown away." Hearing this, Raga gets very angry because Raga also used to get into fights at school. But the second brother after Raga, Jordan, says, "We are getting late for class, so let him go." So Raga gets in the car and starts to move the car. Seeing this, Hema becomes happy, but then the car comes very fast towards Hema, to avoid which Hema falls down, due to which he gets some minor injuries. Seeing this, Feli quickly helps Hema. So Raga comes and yells at Hema, saying, "Now tell me, can I park the car here or not? Or should we show you your place?" Raga's brothers were also watching all this, but no one says anything. But Raga is non-stop yelling at Hema, but Feli did not know this. So she comes in between them and says, "Whatever the matter is, you don't have the right to hurt anyone." Hearing this, Raga first looks on in surprise and then says, "Who are you to stick your nose in the middle? Do you have a passion for becoming a heroine?" So Feli says, "I don't have a passion for becoming a heroine because I am already a heroine for ill-mannered people who knows well how to break the arrogance of people like you." And then Feli takes his car keys from Raga's hand. Seeing this, Raga gets angry and says, "What on earth is your problem? Give me my keys back right now. And how dare you fight with me and snatch my things?" And then Raga starts to take the keys from Feli, but Feli does not give the keys. So Jordan says, "Raga, leave her too, because we are getting late for class." Then Raga stops. So Feli throws the keys far away and goes away from there herself. So Raga goes and picks up his keys, and he was getting very angry at Feli. And he is going after Feli, but Jordan forbids him from going after Feli, so Raga stops. But just then, his eyes fall on Feli's locket, which Feli had dropped and left. After this, we see Feli's friend Maria, who sees Feli but doesn't go to meet her and quickly goes to class. Over here, Hema opens the door for Feli and then thanks her too. So Feli tells him it's okay and then extends her hand for friendship. So Hema just keeps looking at her because Hema likes Feli a lot. In the next scene, the teacher brings Feli with him to the class and says to all the students, "From now on, Feli is your new classmate." So Feli also gives her introduction, but just then her eyes fall on Raga and Jordan, and she is shocked and understands these two also study in this class. Just then, Feli also sees Maria. She also used to study in the same class, so Feli starts to sit next to Maria. But Maria forbids her from sitting next to her and goes away herself, making an excuse of the washroom. Feli feels bad seeing this behavior of Maria. But just then, she finds another seat, on which Feli sits. And right there, two girls also become Feli's friends, in which one's name is Shania and the other's is Alan. And Raga was also getting very happy seeing Feli because now he was going to make Feli's life hell. Now after class, Feli is worried, thinking, "Why on earth is my best friend ignoring me? Has she not recognized me yet?" But just then, the famous boys come and bump into Feli, and Raga gestures as if he will not spare her. So Feli keeps looking at them. Just then, Jordan comes from behind, so both start looking at each other, and after a little while, Jordan also leaves. After this, Alan and Shania take Feli outside and tell her to stay away from these four brothers. And Shania says, "These princes are not just princes by name, but they are princes in reality too. And they are very, very dangerous." And then she first tells about Raga. Raga is the eldest of all the brothers and is very famous on social media. That's why whenever someone becomes Raga's enemy, they also become an enemy of all of social media. He is very smart, and Raga loves cars. Now she tells about Jordan. Jordan is their second brother who always stays calm. And he is a musician who doesn't talk much to anyone. And their third brother is Helga, who is very irritable, but girls always approach him. But Helga only focuses on games because he is a very big gamer. And their fourth brother is Naviro, who is different from all of them and is also very friendly. And he treats all his fangirls well too. Hearing this, Feli says, "Okay, anyway, I only have to focus on my studies." Just then, Feli finds out that her locket is not on her neck. So Feli gets very worried and quickly comes outside to find her locket, where she and Raga had their fight. But the locket is not there, and this locket is the last memento of her parents with Feli, which is lost. That's why Feli is very worried. In the next scene, Feli goes to the cafeteria with her friends. So Raga starts looking at Feli and tells Helga to bother Feli. So Helga goes to Feli and tries to talk to her, but Feli was not at all interested in talking to him, so she starts to leave. So Helga takes out her hair clip. So Feli says, "Give me my hair clip back." But Helga gives that hair clip to his other brother. So Feli goes to him, but he too doesn't give the hair clip. And then everyone starts laughing at Feli. Now the hair clip, being transferred, goes to Maria. So Feli becomes happy because she thinks that Maria will not bully her, but that does not happen. Maria throws the clip far away, due to which that clip breaks. Seeing this, Feli becomes sad. Then Maria gets up and leaves from here. So Feli also goes after her and asks her, "Why on earth are you ignoring me when I was so excited to meet you?" So Maria says, "This is not my old life, but my new life, in which I don't want to be friends with Feli, because then everyone in school will also find out that I used to live in an orphanage before. So I am warning you, don't try to talk to me again." Hearing all this, Feli becomes very sad. In the next scene, when Feli goes back to the orphanage, Miss Ida is making a lot of food there. So Feli asks, "Why are you making so much food?" So Ida says, "Some special guests are coming today." After a little while, the food is also ready, and the special guest also arrives. So Feli and Miss Ida welcome them, and that special guest is none other than Mr. Johan. Seeing this, Feli is shocked and says to Miss Ida, "You didn't tell me that Mr. Johan is coming?" So Mr. Johan says, "I have come here to take you because I have adopted you. I have wanted a daughter for a long time, so when I found out that you have no one in this world, I wanted to adopt you and give you a good life." Hearing this, Feli is shocked, and before she could say anything, just then, Mr. Johan says, "I have brought my 4 sons here too." As soon as Mr. Johan calls his 4 sons, they are none other than the same 4 princes whom Feli had already met at school. Seeing this, Feli is also shocked, and those 4 brothers are also very shocked to see Feli. but they do not know why Dad has brought them here and what Feli is doing here. So Mr. Johan tells them, I have adopted Feli. After this, Miss Ida takes everyone to the dining table. So Mr. Johan asks everyone to sit, but Raga says, I will never accept this. I will never accept Feli as our family member. And then he gets angry and leaves from there. Miss Ida gets worried seeing all this, but she asks everyone to sit. So Helga and Naviro say, Dad, why do you want a daughter? So Mr. Johan says, it was your mom's last wish for us to also have a daughter. So Helga says, okay, I understand you wanted a daughter, but why do you have to make an annoying girl like Feli your daughter? Hearing this, Mr. Johan gets angry and tells Helga to be quiet. Hearing all these things, Feli becomes uncomfortable, so she makes an excuse of the washroom and leaves. Now as soon as Feli goes out, she sees her same locket in Raga's hand. So she goes to Raga and says, this is mine, give it back to me. So Raga says, if you want this locket back, then go inside and tell my dad I do not want to accept your offer. Only then will I return this locket to you. Hearing this, Feli becomes quiet. On the other hand, Helga and Naviro were still questioning their dad. Only Jordan was sitting quietly. So Mr. Johan scolds Helga and Naviro a lot. Just then, Feli comes and hears everything, how a fight is happening between all of them because of her. That's why she says to Mr. Johan, I don't want to go with you. This will be right for everyone. Saying this, Feli leaves. So Miss Ida starts to worry. So Mr. Johan says, please let me talk to Feli alone for once. And then he goes to Feli's room and says, I want to adopt you with all my heart and want to give you a good life because this was also my wife's last wish. She wanted a daughter. So Feli says, why only me, when your sons don't like me at all? And maybe their behavior is also right because no one likes to make orphanage children like us their family. So Mr. Johan says, no, it's not like that. Ever since I saw you and heard you speak, I started liking you. I thought, I wish I had a daughter just like this. And then when I found out on your birthday that you live in an orphanage, I decided from then on that I will adopt you. And I promise you that I will keep you in my house with a lot of love. Or you can try living in my house for 3 months. My sons are not bad, but they will just need a little time to understand you. Hearing this, Feli becomes quiet. In the next scene, Feli is packing her things and leaving, which makes all the children very sad. But Feli also accepts Mr. Johan's offer. Just then, Mr. Johan also comes to pick up Feli. So Feli says thanks to Miss Ida, and Miss Ida gets emotional, and she says to Johan, please take care of our Feli, just like you take care of your 4 sons. And then she says to Feli, if you don't feel comfortable at Mr. Johan's house, you can come back here. Hearing this, Feli gets emotional and hugs Miss Ida. Then Mr. Johan takes Feli and leaves. After this, Mr. Johan drops Feli at his house and says to her, you go inside, I have some important work, and Rati will tell you everything. Hearing this, Feli gets out of the car and starts looking at the whole house because that house is very big. Rati is standing right there. She takes Feli inside. Now, as soon as Feli goes inside the house, she is very surprised because the house was very big and beautiful from the inside. Just then, the F4 princes also come there. But only Jordan welcomes Feli, which makes Feli happy. So Jordan says, come on, I'll also show you your room with Miss Rati. And then they both leave. So Naviro says, has this girl really come to live here? So Helga says, we have to somehow make her run away from here. So Raga says, don't you worry. I have an idea to make this girl run away from here. On the other hand, Miss Rati gives Feli her room and the Wi-Fi password and says, this room will also open only with this password. So Feli says, is there no room here whose doors are normal? So Jordan says, laughing, no, all the rooms here have smart locks. So Feli says, is this a house or something else? So Jordan says, this is a house, and from now on, this is your house too. Just then, Helga and Naviro also come there. So Miss Rati opens the door of the room, so everyone goes inside it. Feli likes that room a lot. Then Miss Rati tells Feli about the mini monitor and says, with this, you can do any work easily. And then Miss Rati also gets the light turned off by speaking to the mini monitor. But Feli gets very scared seeing the darkness and grabs Miss Rati. So Jordan quickly gets the light turned on and asks Feli, are you okay? But Helga and Naviro start laughing and say, are you a little child? So Miss Rati tells Feli to try the mini monitor too. So Feli gets close to the mini monitor and tells it to close the curtains, which also closes the curtains. So Feli becomes very happy. So Jordan says, laughing, you don't need to go so close. I mean, you can stand in the center and give orders. And then everyone leaves from there. So after a little while, when Feli comes out after freshening up, the mini monitor tells her, Raga is waiting for you outside. Hearing this, Feli goes downstairs and says to Raga, what happened? So Raga says, come with me. And then he takes Feli and comes outside and tells Feli to sit in the car. So Feli says, where are we going? And where's everyone else? So Raga says, I am taking you shopping because this is Dad's order. Hearing this, Feli gets in the car. So Raga takes Feli very far from the house and says, you get out, I have to park the car. So Feli starts to ask some questions, but Raga shouts loudly, so Feli quickly gets out. So Raga leaves from there and goes home and starts enjoying by turning on the music. But Feli was still waiting for Raga, and she hadn't brought her mobile either. That's why she gets very worried about what to do. On the other hand, Raga was just enjoying when it starts to rain. So Raga looks at the rain and says, did the rain have to come right now? And then Raga also starts to worry about Feli, and on top of that, he was also scared of his dad. That's why he comes back to the same place where he had left Feli. And Feli was also completely drenched waiting for Raga. Just then, when Raga comes with an umbrella, Feli starts to get angry. Where had you gone? Do you hate me so much that you did all this? So Raga lies and says, I couldn't find the parking area. And don't shout at me. I'm back now, aren't I? In the next scene, the F4 princes and Feli get ready for school and come downstairs. So Mr. Johan says, are you all ready to go to school? But Feli holds Mr. Johan's hand and greets him with a lot of love. Mr. Johan likes this a lot, but Raga does not. So Mr. Johan says, you all take Feli to school with you. Hearing this, Raga, Helga, and Naviro make a face. So Jordan sees the faces of these three and says, Dad, there won't be space in the car, so it's better if I go in my car. Saying this, Jordan leaves. After this, when Feli is going to school with Raga, Helga, and Naviro, Raga stops the car in the middle and tells Feli to get out. So Feli says, school hasn't come yet. School is still far. So Raga says, I don't want the whole school to know that you are living in our house. That's why you will have to get out here every day. So Feli gets out upon Raga's shouting and goes towards the school running. When Feli reaches the school is closed by then. So Feli starts requesting the watchman, please open the door. But the watchman does not agree. So Feli secretly goes inside the school from over the door. In the next scene, when Helga and Naviro are standing outside their class, just then a beautiful girl passes in front of them. So both of them start looking at her. Just then, Raga calls out to them, so Naviro goes after him. Then Helga also starts to leave, and Feli bumps into him. So Helga starts to get angry at Feli and says, can't you see? Do you have eyes or buttons? Just then, Shania comes there and says to Feli, after school, will you go with me to see a car race? So Feli agrees. After this, we see the car race place where Raga was also car racing, and the rest of the girls were shouting for Raga. So Feli asks, why is there such a crowd here today? So Shania says, whenever Raga comes here, there is a crowd just like this. Now, as soon as Raga gets out of the car, his eyes fall on Feli. So he says, before I give a video of this new car of mine, I want to seat one lucky girl in the car. Hearing this, all the girls start shouting, but Raga holds Feli's hand and forcefully seats her in his car and says, don't be scared. I won't drive too fast for a weak girl like you. So Feli says, I am not weak. And then Raga also sits in the car and starts driving very fast so that he can scare Feli. And Feli was also getting scared by such fast driving, but she doesn't pretend. And then stopping the car, Raga says, weren't you scared? So Feli says, can you only drive this fast? I thought you were a super fast driver. Hearing this, Raga starts driving even faster, which scares Feli even more. Now, as soon as Raga finishes the drive, he comes out and asks Feli, did you have fun? I mean, how was my super fast driving? So Feli says, it was extremely lame. Next time, seat a weak girl next to you. Maybe she will get scared. Hearing this, everyone starts laughing loudly at Raga, meaning Feli had insulted Raga well in front of everyone. In the next scene, Raga is shouting at his house, Feli, Feli. So Raga's brothers say, don't you worry, we have a good idea to teach Feli a lesson. On the other hand, Feli's mobile's charging runs out, so she goes to get the charger. But just then, Helga turns off the lights of the whole house, due to which Feli freezes because she is scared of the dark. So she tells the mini monitor to turn on the light, but it was not working either. Over here, these three brothers are standing outside and laughing. So Helga says how easy it is to scare this girl. On the other hand, Feli's condition had gotten bad due to fear, although she had also stopped breathing because Feli has darkness phobia. But these three are not affected at all by Feli's shouting and fear. But just then, these three hear the loud sound of something falling, which scares Raga, thinking, did she die? That's why he quickly tries to open the door, but none of the three knew the password of the door. Just then, Jordan comes there and asks them, what are you all doing outside Feli's room? Hearing this, the three of them say nothing. So Jordan knew the password to Feli's room, so he quickly opens the door. So Raga goes inside first, but he bumps into Feli and falls. And then he is shocked to see Feli. And then he picks her up and lays her on the bed and tries to wake her up. But as soon as the light comes after a little while, Feli also gets up and quickly hugs Jordan. So seeing this, Jordan and everyone else are also surprised. So Jordan says, everything is okay now. So hearing this, Feli quickly steps back and starts looking at Raga, Helga, and Naviro, because she knew that these three had done all this. So Jordan tells the three to say sorry to Feli. So the three say sorry and leave from there. In the next scene, when Feli is at school, Helga and Naviro go to her and say, "Why didn't you complain about us to Dad?" So Feli starts to smile because she wants to be friends with all of them. But just then, Raga comes there and sticks a paper on Feli's back, but Feli does not know about this. Now, as Feli goes out, everyone starts laughing at Feli. So Feli goes to Jordan, and Jordan sees that paper and takes it off and gives it to Feli. On that paper, bad things were written about Feli. Seeing this, Feli gets angry and starts going towards Raga because she understands that this is Raga's doing. But on the way, Feli collides with a bad boy whose name is Kai. Feli says sorry to Kai, but he does not agree and is about to slap Feli. But just then, Raga comes and saves Feli and says, "How dare you raise your hand on a girl?" Actually, Raga and Kai have a very old enmity. That's why both of them start fighting with each other. So Feli comes in between them and stops them and says, "Class is about to start." So Kai warns them and says, "I will see you all later." Saying this, Kai leaves. So Raga starts to get angry at Feli and says, "Can't you see where you're going? You bumped into Kai. Do you even know how dangerous he is?" So Feli says, "This is all your fault." And then, in anger, she throws the paper and leaves. In the next scene, as Feli sits on her seat in class, she feels something there. So as she gets up and checks, she finds out that ink was spilled on the seat. Because of this, Feli's shirt gets ruined. So everyone starts laughing loudly at Feli, especially Maria. And Raga was also making a video while laughing because he had done all this. So the teacher tells Feli to go to the washroom. So Hema also starts to go along to help her. But Jordan also feels bad for Feli. That's why he covers Feli's skirt and says to the teacher, "I am taking Feli to the washroom." Seeing this, everyone is surprised because Jordan had taken a stand for someone for the first time. After this, during dismissal time, Feli's friends start to tease Feli. "Maybe Jordan has started to like you. That's why he helped you." Hearing this, Feli becomes very happy. In the next scene, outside, Helga and Naviro are both lost in the thoughts of that same girl. Both of them tell each other that they like a girl but do not tell her name because both of them have the same crush. Just then, Raga comes there and says, "I don't know what has happened to Jordan. He keeps helping Feli all the time, whereas I have to get Feli out of the house as soon as possible, by any means, before Dad officially adopts her." So Naviro says, "At this time, Feli must be at her job." In the next scene, they all go to the same restaurant where Feli used to work. And when Feli is carrying a tray, Raga intentionally pushes her, due to which that tray falls. So Feli gets very angry at Raga and says, "What are you doing here?" Just then, Helga places Raga's wallet under the tray, and Raga also behaves as if he doesn't even know Feli, and Feli has also ruined his clothes. That's why Raga starts shouting. Just then, Feli's boss comes there and says sorry to Raga, and also tells Feli to say sorry to Raga. So Feli, despite not wanting to, says sorry to Raga. And then Raga starts another drama and says, "My wallet is missing. This girl must have stolen it." So Raga starts looking for the wallet, and as he removes the tray, then Raga starts to prove Feli as a thief in front of everyone. And he says to the boss there, "You fire her from here right now." So that boss does the same so that the restaurant is not further defamed. Hearing this, Feli becomes very sad. So Raga also goes back and sits in his place. And when Feli starts to leave, Raga says, "See what I do to those who mess with me." So Feli says, "You all are sons of a rich man. So you all have not seen the bad times that I have seen. And because of this, you all know nothing about the value of money. And for you three, this cheap act might be a joke. But for me, this job was very important, which I did not leave even when my boss tortured me. But today, I have to leave from here in shame." Saying this, Feli leaves, so they all feel that yes, today we all have really crossed the line. After this, when Feli is going home in anger, she meets Jordan on the way, who tells Feli to sit in the car. So Feli refuses, but Jordan gets out of the car and seats Feli in the car himself and also fastens Feli's seatbelt and says, "I got a call from Naviro. He told me everything, and I apologize to you because of my brothers." And then Jordan takes Feli with him for shopping and tells Feli to take whatever she wants. So Feli refuses to take clothes because this place was very expensive. But Jordan does not agree and starts choosing clothes for Feli himself. So Feli keeps looking at Jordan and starts thinking, "How much Jordan cares for me?" And just then, Feli starts to fall backward. So Jordan catches her, so both start laughing. And then Feli happily goes to try on the dress. In the next scene, when she comes back with Jordan after shopping, Raga also comes there and starts to get angry seeing both of them together. Then when Jordan starts to rest, Raga comes to Jordan and says, "Why are you ruining our plan? Do you really want to keep that girl here forever?" So Jordan says, "Even though you are my brother, I will never support you in wrong things. I mean, do you never feel sorry for Feli?" Hearing this, Raga starts to fight with Jordan. So Helga and Naviro were trying to stop them. But just then, Feli also comes there hearing the noise and starts listening to their conversation. Then Raga says to Jordan, Feli is not innocent at all. Rather, she tries to act naive. And she has used this innocent face of hers to trap Dad. And now, she is trapping you too, so she can take advantage. I mean, to loot our dad's money. Otherwise, you think for yourself, who just walks into someone's house like that? Surely her intention is to do something big. Hearing this, Feli gets angry and goes to Raga and slaps him very hard. Seeing this, everyone is shocked. So Feli says, I didn't know that you think so wrong about me. And okay, if you hate me this much, then I will leave this house. Hearing this, everyone starts looking at Feli, how serious she is. In the next scene, Naviro and Helga both call their crush to a restaurant, but neither of them had told the other. As soon as that girl comes there and we find out that this girl's name is Monica, Helga welcomes Monica, and Naviro also asks her to sit. And Naviro thinks why he is sticking so close to his girl. And Helga also says, why are you talking so much to my girl? Then Monica says, I came here because both of you called me. In the next scene, Raga gives everyone a pizza party in the happiness of Feli leaving. But just then, Feli comes there, so Raga is shocked to see her and says, weren't you about to leave the house? So Feli says, yes, but now I have changed my mind. And then Feli starts eating pizza, so Raga just keeps looking at her. Just then, Jordan also comes there and notices that Feli and Raga are fighting again. So Jordan says, I have heard that those who fight in the beginning fall in love later on. Hearing this, both shout together and say, that is never possible. Just then, Helga and Naviro both start to pick up the same slice, due to which both of them look at each other angrily, and then they leave from there while fighting. So then no one understands what is going on between these two. And then Jordan also starts to leave, so Feli asks him to wait for a while, but Jordan had some important work, so he leaves. So Raga starts to stare at Feli because he was about to say something to Feli. So Feli makes a face and says, why are you staring at me like that? So Raga gives Feli her locket back and leaves, which makes Feli very happy. In the next scene, Raga starts to bother Feli at school because he has fallen in love with Feli. But Raga also does not know this, so he bothers Feli all the time. Just then, Maria's eyes fall on these two, so she becomes very jealous because she used to like Raga. That's why when Feli was getting ready for the cheerleading club, Maria sees her and says, today, I will teach her a good lesson. After all, I am the head of the cheerleading club. And then, when all the girls are practicing, Maria tells Feli to do a stunt too. So Feli says, how will I do all this? Because I have just joined the club. So Maria says, you can trust me. So Feli agrees. Just then, Raga also comes there, and as soon as Feli is standing up high, Maria removes her hand, due to which Feli falls down very badly. So Raga quickly starts to go to Feli, but just then Jordan comes there and starts to pick Feli up. So Feli says, I am okay. But Feli couldn't even walk. So Jordan picks Feli up and starts to take her away. So Feli says, please put me down, because I don't want Maria to think I'm weak. Hearing this, Jordan and Raga start looking at Maria. So Maria was getting happy seeing all this. So Jordan puts Feli down and starts to take her away from there while helping her, and Raga gets very angry seeing Feli in pain. And he also understands that Mariah did this on purpose. That's why he goes to Mariah and says, I know you dropped Feli on purpose. So Mariah says, no, it's nothing like that. But Raga leaves from there without listening to her. In the next scene, Helga and Naviro both come to meet Monica thinking, we will both propose to Monica together. Whoever Monica chooses will become Monica's boyfriend. Just then, Monica comes there, so both give Monica a gift. So Monica thinks that they found out about her leaving. That's why Monica says, oh, so you both are giving me a goodbye gift? So Helga and Naviro say, what do you mean? Where are you going? So Monica says, I am going to London to study. Hearing this, both their hearts break, and they tell Monica that we both like you. Hearing this, Monica is also shocked and says, we will stay connected on social media. In the next scene, Raga, Jordan, and Feli go to see an exhibition for a project. So there, after seeing the exhibition, Feli says, we should take a selfie here. And then Feli takes a selfie with both of them. So Raga says, you took a very bad photo. Saying this, Raga takes a photo with his mobile. And Raga did all this because he didn't have a single photo of Feli on his mobile. Then Jordan says, hurry up. Today is Dad's birthday. He must be waiting for us. So Feli says, what? Is today Dad's birthday? If I had known earlier, I would have done something special for him. So Jordan says, it's okay. I have already ordered seafood for him. So Feli says, but I am allergic to seafood. So Jordan says, it's okay. I will tell the chef to make something else for you right now. Hearing this, Raga calls the chef and has seafood mixed into Feli's food. After this, then everyone together celebrates Mr. Johan's birthday, which makes Mr. Johan very happy. And then when everyone sits down, Jordan gives some good news and says, a big agency has liked my song and has called me for a meeting tomorrow. Hearing this, everyone congratulates Jordan, except for Mr. Johan, because according to him, Jordan is being foolish by going into the musical field. But still, To please Jordan, he praises him a little, and now as Feli eats food, she starts to have an allergy. So Raga is very happy to see this, but all the other people are worried for Feli and say, "Should we take you to the hospital or call the doctor here?" So Feli refuses and says, "I will be fine by morning." But that does not happen. When Feli wakes up in the morning, the allergy has spread all over her face. And on top of that, today she also had to go to the agency to support Jordan. That's why Feli hides her face and goes there. So Jordan goes inside, where the producer tells him, "We liked your song, but to release it, you will have to make an investment, because all singers do this." Hearing this, Jordan starts to think about something. In the next scene, Feli is thinking about Jordan. "Jordan always helps me and takes a stand for me." And then Feli thinks that maybe she has started to like him even more than before. And thinking all this, Feli falls asleep right there on the couch. Just then, Raga comes there, who had brought medicine for Feli. And then Raga starts looking at Feli and says sorry to her, because Raga was not feeling good at all that due to his joke, Feli's whole face had such a bad allergy. Then Raga sees that Feli is not lying in the right position, due to which a problem could also arise in her neck. That's why Raga gets close to her to fix Feli's position. But Feli, in her sleep, hugs Raga tightly. Raga tries a lot to push Feli away from himself, but he is not able to do it. And then he starts looking at Feli with a lot of love, and Raga's heartbeat also becomes quite fast. After this, Raga picks Feli up and comes to her room and puts her to sleep. But just then, Feli's eyes open, and she directly starts hitting Raga because she thought that Raga was doing something wrong with her. So Raga says, "It's nothing like that. I just brought you upstairs from downstairs. Look, I even brought medicine for you, and I am also feeling sorry for you." Saying this, Raga leaves. In the next scene, when everyone starts to go to school, Raga says to Feli, "Come on, I'll drop you to school." So Feli looks at him angrily and says, "You will leave me in the middle of the road again." Just then, Jordan is going by there. So Feli says to him, "Can I go to school with you in your car?" So Jordan says, "Yes, of course." So both happily start to leave, but seeing this, Raga becomes very jealous. So Helga and Naviro both start laughing at Raga. After this, we see a scene from the school. When Feli is standing and thinking about something, Raga brings juice for Feli and says, "Everyone is waiting for you outside." Feli doesn't understand why Raga is behaving so nicely these days, and then Feli takes the juice and both of them start to go together. Just then, Maria and her friends see these two together, so they go after them. So they find out that Feli's bond with the F4 princes has become very good, and when Feli sits in their car with them, seeing this, Maria becomes very shocked and jealous. That's why Maria decides that now she will teach Feli a lesson on the school trip. In the next scene, everyone is ready to go on the trip, but Raga is not ready to go on the trip. So Feli explains to him and says, "You shouldn't miss the chance to go on the trip because its marks will also be counted in your exam." Only then does Raga agree to go on the trip. After this, when all the students are on the bus, Hema goes and sits next to Feli because he also used to like Feli. But Raga doesn't like this, so he makes up various excuses to get Hema up from there and sits next to Feli himself. So Feli says, "What on earth is your problem? Why do you follow me?" So Raga says, "I don't like to see you living in peace. That's why I want to be near you all the time and bother you." And then both of them argue the whole way and finally reach the place where they have to stay. Then the teacher tells them all the rules and also makes their teams. After this, then all the students come to have lunch. So Hema brings lunch for Feli and says, "If you need anything else, tell me." So Feli agrees, so Hema leaves from there. After Hema leaves, Raga comes and sits next to Feli and says, "Feed me, because my hand is injured." And then after Raga forces her a lot, Feli agrees, but then Feli puts the spoon so far inside Raga's mouth that Raga's condition starts to get bad. So Shania starts laughing seeing all this. Just then, Jordan also comes and sits in the other seat. So Feli leaves Raga and sits next to Jordan. So Raga again gets jealous and leaves from there. In the next scene, all the students are lifting boxes. Then Raga also comes to help Feli, even though Raga was in Maria's team. Maria tells Raga to help, but Raga flatly refuses and also pushes her away from him. Seeing this, Maria gets very angry. And then when Feli is standing up straight, Hema comes to her and gives her water. So Feli takes water from him, but when Jordan passes by her, Feli also goes with him. Seeing all this, Hema does not feel good at all. Over here, Feli and Jordan see the whole place, and then both of them sit outside a small restaurant and start talking. Feli asks him, "What did your music director say?" So Jordan says, "The money they were asking for, I have given it to them. But now they are not replying to any of my messages or calls. That's why I will go to the agency now to talk to them." Hearing this, Feli feels bad for Jordan. On the other hand, Raga is looking for Feli. So Hema tells him, Feli went with Jordan. Hearing this, Raga relaxes. But then when it gets dark, Feli and Jordan haven't come back yet. Seeing this, Raga starts to get tense. That's why he calls Naviro. So Naviro puts the call on speaker, due to which Kai also overhears all their conversation. And Mariah was also listening to Raga's conversation there. Raga asks Naviro, "Have you seen Feli and Jordan?" So Naviro says, "No, we haven't seen either of them." Hearing this, Raga becomes very worried and starts asking the people there about Feli and Jordan. But just then, Raga gets a call from his dad, and he asks Raga about Feli and says, "Where is Feli? She is not answering any of my calls." So Raga says, "Yes, she is fine. She must be enjoying with her friends." So his dad believes this. But Maria does not understand this. Why Mr. Johan is asking about Feli, meaning what is Feli's connection with Mr. Johan? On the other hand, when Feli and Jordan are coming back, Kai stops both of them on the way and pushes Feli because he hates every person related to Raga. And he starts fighting with Jordan. So Jordan fights back for a while, but Kai's friends were also with him, and Jordan was all alone. That's why he is not able to fight with them much, so he tells Feli to run away from here. So Feli quickly gets up and starts running, but just then she falls down. So Kai comes to Feli and starts laughing and starts to crush Feli's hand with his foot, which causes Feli a lot of pain. So before Kai does something else with Feli, Raga comes there and hits Kai very badly. Seeing all this, Kai's friends run away. So Raga quickly picks Feli up and hugs her and says, "Sorry, I was late in coming, and thanks that you are okay." So then Raga goes back to Kai, and after hitting him a lot, warns him and sends him away from there. After this, Feli is sitting in her room and applying medicine to her hand. Just then, Maria comes to her and acts nice, and reacts as if she is very worried about Feli. And then Maria says, "I am still your best friend. I was just a little scared in the beginning that everyone would find out that I am also from an orphanage." And then after explaining a lot to Feli, she makes her her friend again. And then Maria says, "I think you like Jordan, so you should confess your feelings to him." So Feli says, "Yes, I do like him, but I can't confess my feelings so soon." And then she starts thinking about something. Now the next day also, when Feli is with Mariah, Mariah also tells her to confess her feelings to Jordan. So Feli's friend Shania also tells her to confess to Jordan and forces her, saying, "Jordan also went to explore the place with you." So Maria also supports these words. So hearing all this, Feli agrees and says, "Okay, I will confess my feelings to Jordan today itself." In next scene, Feli calls Jordan to meet her. As soon as Jordan comes, Feli thanks Jordan for all the help that Jordan has done for Feli. And then at the end, Feli tells Jordan about her feelings and says, "I like you a lot." Hearing this, Jordan just keeps looking at Feli. Just then, someone is secretly making a video of these two. And then Jordan says, "But I never considered you more than a friend," meaning he rejects Feli. Hearing all this, Feli's heart breaks, and she gets sad and leaves from there. In the next scene, Raga was going to meet Feli. Just then, that same video comes in the school group in which Jordan had rejected Feli. Seeing this, Raga is shocked, and the rest of the girls also start making fun of Feli. So hearing this, Raga scolds those girls and makes them quiet and forbids everyone from speaking like that about Feli. After this, Raga goes to Feli, but Feli is not listening to Raga at all and starts crying. So Raga hugs Feli so that her pain can be reduced. And that's what happens. Feli starts crying a lot and starts to feel a little relaxed. But Raga was still worried for Feli. And then Feli goes back to her room, so Shania says to her, "Don't you worry, you will find someone better than Jordan." Hearing this, Feli says, "How do you know that I got rejected?" So Shania shows Feli that video that has gone viral in the whole school. Seeing this, Feli is shocked. And then her suspicion falls on Raga, and she says, "Because after all this happened, the first person I met was Raga." So Aline says, "I admit that Raga bothered you a lot in the beginning, but he can never do something like this to you." But Feli does not agree and believes that this act is Raga's. In the next scene, Hema comes to Feli and says to her, "The teacher is calling you. She wants to talk to you about something." Hearing this, Feli gets scared because she thinks that the teacher has seen this video. That's why Feli goes to the teacher and says sorry to the teacher. So the teacher does not understand her point, so Hema handles the situation and says, "Feli is confused at this time." So the teacher says, "I have called you for a project, not for any discussion." And then when these two come out, Feli tells Hema which video she was talking about. So Hema watches that video, but he doesn't like this video. So he says, "Don't you worry, I will delete this video." And then Hema deletes that video. So Feli says thanks to him. Now after Hema leaves, Raga comes there. So Feli thought that Raga had done all this, so she starts to get angry at Raga. So Raga says, I did not do this. But Feli does not believe his word, due to which Raga gets angry and leaves. In the next scene, when Feli goes in front of all the students start making fun of Feli, and Maria's friends also start saying bad things to Feli. Just then, Raga, Helga, and Naviro come there. So Raga holds Feli's hand and takes her away from there. So Helga and Naviro start scolding those two girls that you, being a girl, should not talk to another girl like that. So hearing this, both of them become quiet. On the other hand, Raga is taking Feli somewhere with him, but Feli refuses him. But Raga does not agree and forcibly seats Feli on the bike and takes her with him to a beautiful place and says, you should let out your frustration here. And then Raga starts shouting loudly. Seeing this, Feli also does the same, which makes her feel light. And she also starts to believe that Raga did not do all this. And then both of them sit in a restaurant and start talking. So Raga asks Feli, since when are you in the orphanage? So Feli says, I have been in the orphanage since childhood. My mom left me there since then saying, I will come back to get you, but she has not come back to this day. Hearing this, Raga feels bad for Feli. After this, when Feli starts to go back to her room, she meets Maria there, who hugs her and says to Feli, I just found out about your video. Are you okay? So Feli says, yes, I am perfectly fine. And then Feli says, Raga just took me out for a while, because of which I am feeling relaxed now. Hearing this, Maria gets jealous and comes out and calls a girl and says, you are the leader of the Campfire organization, right? That's why I need your help, because I want to make someone feel insulted. Hearing this, that girl goes to Feli and says, today at the campfire, you will sing in front of everyone. If you don't do this, your points will be deducted. Then, being forced, Feli has to sing in front of everyone at the campfire. As Feli starts to sing, all the students start laughing at Feli and start making fun of her. Seeing all this, singing becomes even more difficult for Feli. So seeing this, Raga starts to support Feli and starts singing with her. Seeing this, everyone is shocked because no one had the courage to speak in front of Raga. And Feli also starts to enjoy Raga's company. But seeing all this, Jordan doesn't understand why Raga is helping Feli so much. And then when the campfire is over, Feli starts to go with her friends. So Jordan goes to talk to Feli, but Feli ignores him for the first time and leaves. Then Jordan starts to feel strange. So Raga goes to Jordan and says, do you really not like Feli? So Jordan says, I do like her, but only as a friend. So Raga says, okay, now I am making my point clear. I have started to like Feli. Hearing this, Jordan is surprised and says to Raga. Then, when Feli starts to leave, Raga holds Feli's hand. Seeing this, Feli says, I will slap you one more time. And then Feli leaves in anger, which shocks these four. Navarro says, I didn't know that these girls' anger is so dangerous. After this, Feli goes to her room and starts writing in her diary. And then Feli goes to the kitchen and starts making tea. Just then, Jordan comes there and makes tea for Feli and says, while explaining, you don't need to leave the house right now. I admit my brothers are ill-mannered, but with time, they will be okay. So please, try staying for a few more days. So Feli agrees and comes to her room and starts writing about Jordan. That Jordan is so sweet that I just can't refuse his words. In the next scene, Feli wears and tries on all those dresses that Jordan had bought for her and then gets well dressed and goes out in front of everyone. So everyone just keeps looking at Feli because Feli was looking very different today, and Raga was not taking his eyes off Feli at all. Then Naviro says, today you are not bothering my eyes at all because today you are looking quite good. And then Helga and Jordan also praise Feli. So Feli says, all the credit goes to Jordan because Jordan bought me this dress. And now, as a thank you, I want to cook his favorite dish for Jordan. So Jordan agrees and says, I like fried rice. So Helga and Naviro say, we also want to eat fried rice. So Feli says, okay, I will cook fried rice for you too, but first, promise you guys won't bother me again. So Helga says, we will only tell you that after eating the fried rice, what to do. Then, when Feli goes to the kitchen, the chef there does not let Feli use the kitchen and says, only I can cook food in this kitchen. Hearing this, Feli goes to the servant's kitchen and makes fried rice from there and takes it for everyone at the table. So Helga and Naviro like that rice a lot, and they also praise Feli. And Jordan also praises Feli a lot, but Raga does not taste that rice. So Helga says, brother, taste it once. It's super tasty. So Raga says, the look of this dish itself tells me how bad it will be. And then he eats the dish made by his chef, but his heart was to eat Feli's dish. Just then, Mr. Johan comes there, so Feli gives him fried rice too. So Mr. Johan also likes it a lot, and he says, my wife also used to make fried rice just like this. That's why I was reminded of her. And today, we are all going to my wife's grave, so you also come with us. I will introduce you to my wife. Hearing this, everyone is shocked, and Raga gets up in anger and leaves. And then when everyone was about to sit in the car, Raga goes to Feli and says, couldn't you refuse Dad about coming with us? And then he gets angry and sits in the car. So Feli also starts to go back. So Jordan says, try to understand Raga's situation because today it's about mom and emotions. That's why he is getting angry at you. And because dad invited you, he wants to introduce you to mom. That's why you should come with us. Hearing this, Feli also sits in the car. After this, everyone is sitting at the grave and putting flowers on it, but Feli is not putting them. So Mr. Johan says, Feli, dear, you also place a flower. Then Feli also puts a flower on the grave. And then Mr. Johan introduces Feli to his wife and then starts sharing a lot of things. And then at the end, he asks Feli to pray. So Feli also starts to pray. And then after praying, everyone starts to leave from there. But Raga is still sitting at his mom's grave. So Feli starts looking at Raga. And Raga also sees Feli and comes to her in anger and says, you must be having fun, right? Watching my family's emotional time. So Feli says, now I understand why you are so ill-mannered, because there has been a lack of a mother in your upbringing. Saying this, Feli leaves, so Raga starts looking at Feli. In the next scene, they all go to a garage which Raga runs. So Mr. Johan praises Raga and says, you have made this place very nice. I mean, you are only in school right now, but you have already started your business. You have done very well, and however much money you need, I will give it to you. Hearing this, Raga becomes happy and says, yes, Dad. Hearing this, Jordan is not at all happy because Mr. Johan does not support Jordan in his hobby, that is, singing. And then Mr. Johan leaves due to a meeting, and Feli also starts to go to the washroom. But just then, she overhears the conversation of these F4 princes, who were missing their mom a lot and say, I wish mom was also with us. How nice it would have been, right? So Jordan says, yes, I am also missing her quite a lot. Seeing this, Feli thinks, even though these guys don't have good behavior with girls, they have a soft corner for their mom. And then Naviro says, Feli was with us during our family time today. Did anyone find that strange? So Helga says, yes, I did, because she is a stranger and she is behaving as if she has become our family. So Raga says, yes, I also feel very uncomfortable with her. So Jordan says, yes, in the beginning, everything with Feli seems uncomfortable, but slowly we will get used to it. Just then, Feli hears this and comes to them and says, sorry you all are feeling uncomfortable because of me. And if it's like this, then okay, I will leave the house. So Jordan says, no, it's not like that. But Raga says, yes, it is like that. That's why you should leave. Hearing this, Feli leaves from there. In the next scene, at night, Feli packs her things and goes to Mr. Johan and says, please drop me back at the orphanage right now. Hearing this, Mr. Johan understands that she is leaving because of his sons. That's why he says to Feli, first, you come with me. And then he takes Feli to his wife's room and shows Feli a video in which his wife was very happy after giving birth to Raga. And then Raga's mom says, now I wish for a daughter. But there, this wish could not be fulfilled. So Mr. Johan says, I see my daughter in you. I mean, I have started considering you my daughter. And if you leave, I will feel very bad. And it hasn't even been 1 month for you yet, and we had talked about 3 months. And then after Mr. Johan explains a lot, Feli agrees. If you need any advice, you can take it from me, always. And then both of them leave from there. In the next scene, the trip is about to end. So when Feli starts to leave, all the students again start making fun of Feli, which makes Feli sad. Just then, Raga comes and grabs that student's collar and starts to get angry at him. So that student says, you also used to bother Feli before, so now we are also doing it. Hearing this, Raga gets even more angry, so he starts to fight with that student. But Feli stops him and starts to leave from there. Then these 4 start walking behind Feli as if they are Feli's private bodyguards. Seeing this, Feli feels very good. In the next scene, when these 4 reach home, Feli is having a little trouble taking her luggage upstairs. So Jordan starts to help Feli, but Feli refuses him and takes her luggage upstairs herself. And Raga also sees all this. In the next scene, when Feli comes out of her room, Jordan sees Feli and starts to come towards her. So Feli sees Jordan and goes back inside because she didn't feel like facing Jordan at all. And Jordan also gets sad and leaves from there. Now Feli is sitting in her room when a video comes on her mobile. And this was the same video in which Jordan had rejected Feli. Seeing this video, Feli starts crying and also breaks something by mistake, the sound of which Raga hears outside and quickly goes inside. So Feli is picking up the pieces of the mirror. So Raga pushes her back and asks her, why are you crying? Did something happen to you? And then he also wipes Feli's tears. Just then, his eyes fall on the video. So Raga understands why Feli is crying. So Feli says, I wish I hadn't confessed my feelings to Jordan. So Raga says to Feli, I will fix everything. We will both find the person who recorded this video. And then Raga starts to console Feli like a child. Seeing this, Feli becomes even more emotional and says, how you are worrying for me today, whereas before you used to keep fighting. Hearing this, Raga quickly steps back and says, I am still the same as before. After this, Feli calls Hema to meet her at a restaurant, so Hema goes to that restaurant very happily. But just then, he sees Raga with her, so he says to Feli, "Why did you bring him along?" So Feli says, "Because he also wants to help me." And then Feli says, "Please just find out and tell me who uploaded that video to that school group, because you are an expert in hacking, right?" So Hema agrees to his words, and after a little while, Hema finds out the name of the person who had uploaded this video, and it was none other than Maria. And when Feli finds out that Maria had uploaded that video on social media, she becomes very sad. After this, when Feli is at home, Jordan calls Feli alone. So Feli thinks that everyone is there, so Feli goes there. When Feli sees that Jordan is alone, she starts to go back. So Jordan does not let Feli go, but starts to sing a new song that Jordan had not yet sung to anyone. That's why Feli stops. And Jordan was also trying to appease Feli, and that song was also something like it was made for Feli. That's why Feli becomes happy. So Jordan says sorry to Feli. So Feli says, "It's okay, maybe it wasn't your fault in this. I should have thought carefully before telling you my feelings." So Jordan says, "From now on, we will live like good friends." So Feli also agrees to this, due to which everything becomes okay between the two of them. In the next scene, when everyone is ready to go to school, Mr. Johan asks Feli, "Who are you going to school with today?" Just then, Helga takes her bag from Feli and calls her to sit in his car. Seeing this, Feli starts to laugh. Seeing this, Mr. Johan becomes happy that everyone has accepted Feli, and Feli is also happy with all of them. That's why Mr. Johan asks Feli, "Can I adopt you now?" Just then, Helga starts to call Feli, so Feli happily leaves from there. Now as Feli gets out of the car with the F4 princes, all the girls look at Feli in shock, wondering what Feli is doing with all of them. After this, when Feli is at school, Raga gives Feli a new mobile, so Feli refuses to take it. So Raga says, "I am giving you this because everyone is bothering you by sending videos to your old mobile number. That's why I am giving you another mobile, and I have already added my number to it as well." And then, after Raga insists, she takes the mobile. In the next scene, Hema and Maria are sitting with the principal. Hema tells the principal everything, how Maria recorded Feli's video and uploaded it on social media. So Maria apologizes to the principal. So Hema says, "This is unfair. I mean, if Feli was trolled on social media because of Maria, then Maria should also apologize to Feli on social media." So the principal also agrees with Hema's point and tells Maria to apologize on social media. Then Maria is apologizing, so Hema records this entire video and adds it to the school group, which everyone sees. And Raga is also very happy to see this. In the next scene, Maria goes to the orphanage, so the children and Miss Ida are happy to see Maria there. So Maria also hugs Miss Ida, and then Miss Ida and Maria both sit and start talking, where Miss Ida tells in the conversation, "A very rich man, Mr. Johan, wants to adopt your best friend, so for now, she's living at their house." Hearing this, Maria is shocked. And then after leaving the orphanage, Maria stands directly outside Mr. Johan's house to see if Feli really lives here. Just then, the F4 Prince's car comes there, so Maria also secretly goes inside. So as Feli gets out of the F4 Prince's car, she is shocked. And then she clicks Feli's photo so that she can use these photos when the time comes, because Maria could not see Feli living a luxury life. On the other hand, Jordan goes to the music agency and asks a lady about the person to whom Jordan had given the money. So that lady tells him, the police have taken that person because he has scammed many people. He said that he would make them big singers, but that person has looted everyone. Hearing this, Jordan is shocked and understands that he has also been scammed. And then Jordan calls Feli and tells her everything and says, "Now what should I do?" So Feli says, "You should talk to Dad about this." And then when Jordan comes home, he and Feli start to go to Mr. Johan, but only Jordan goes inside and tells his dad the whole story. Hearing this, Mr. Johan starts to get angry at Jordan and says, "Do I send you to school to study or to do all this?" Hearing this, Jordan also gets angry and says, "Why do my dreams always seem like a joke to you? I mean, if Raga was stuck in such a situation, you would fully support him, but you never support me, because you only love Raga, not me." Saying this, Jordan gets angry and leaves from there. Then Raga also overhears all these things and stops Feli and goes to Jordan's room to talk to him himself. And he says, "Sorry, I didn't think that you feel like Dad loves me more and not you. But don't you worry, I will support you in everything." So Jordan says, "It's not your fault in this. I am not angry with you, so don't say sorry to me." So Raga says, "Never consider yourself alone. In fact, I, Naviro, and Helga are always with you, and you will see, Dad will also surely understand you one day." On the other hand, Feli goes to Mr. Johan and says, "First, I didn't want to talk about this because I thought it was your family's matter, but now I can't remain silent." And then Feli starts to explain to Mr. Johan how important singing is for Jordan and says Jordan considers singing as his life. Then Mr. Johan listens to the whole thing carefully and then comes to his room to talk to Jordan. So Jordan starts doing his work, but Mr. Johan looks at Jordan's entire room and then reads the song written by Jordan and says to Jordan, "Did you really write these songs?" So Jordan says, "Yes, I have written them." So Mr. Johan says, "They are very well written." And then sitting next to Jordan, he says sorry to him and says, "I shouldn't have talked to you like that. I mean, I shouldn't have yelled at you." So Jordan says, "I also shouldn't have wasted your money." So Mr. Johan says, "By the way, I have also been scammed in business many times." Hearing this, Jordan starts to laugh. And then Mr. Johan also gives Jordan permission to sing, due to which everything becomes okay between the two of them. In the next scene, when Feli goes to school, everyone starts staring at Feli, and we're also making fun of her, thinking, "Oh, so this is this girl's reality." Just then, Feli's eyes fall on the board, and there it is written, "Feli is Mr. Johan's illegitimate child. That's why she lives in their house." Seeing this, Feli is stunned, and the F4 princes also read all this and are shocked. Even Raga believes this and yells at Feli, saying, "Tell me, is this true?" So Feli gets scared and asks, "Are you guys believing this fake news?" Hearing this, no one says anything because everyone was believing this, because they all were finding it strange that their dad had adopted Feli. So Feli gets angry and leaves from there. On the other hand, Mr. Johan also finds out about this because everyone was saying different things. Seeing this, Mr. Johan is shocked. In the next scene, we see a person who is talking to someone on a call. Just then, the person on the call tells that person to watch the news. As soon as that person watches the news, he asks on the call, "Is this really Feli?" In the next scene, Feli is at the orphanage, hugging Miss Ida and crying a lot. Just then, that same person comes there and says, "My name is Andre, and I am Feli's dad." Hearing this, Feli is shocked and looks at him. And then the three of them sit and start talking, where Mr. Andre sees Feli's butterfly locket and says, "Your mom gave this to you." And then Andre shows Feli two photos, in one of which are Feli and her mom, and in the other, Andre has picked Feli up. Seeing this, Miss Ida says, "Yes, this is the same woman who left Feli here." So Mr. Andre says, "In those days, my wife, that is, Feli's mom's health was not at all good. And on top of that, we also had financial problems, meaning we didn't even have money to eat and drink. So then we left Feli at the orphanage with the hope that when everything is okay, we will take Feli back. But that could not happen. Instead, my wife passed away. So because of this, I was completely broken. I couldn't even take care of myself, so how could I handle Feli? That's why I did not come to get Feli. But later, when the condition improved a little, then I didn't have the courage to face Feli. But today, I have gathered a lot of courage to come and take my daughter." And then he asks Miss Ida, "Has anyone adopted Feli?" So Miss Ida says, "There is a family that wants to adopt Feli, but the paperwork is not complete yet." So Mr. Andre says, "Now you don't have to do anything." And then Mr. Andre asks Feli, "You will come with me back, right?" But Feli is very confused. She doesn't understand at all what to do. That's why Feli says, "I will think and answer." In the next scene, when the F4 princes come home, Mr. Johan asks about Feli. So Raga says angrily, "First you tell me, is the news that is going around true?" So Mr. Johan says, "No, it's not like that at all. I adopted Feli only because it was your mom's last wish, but you people are doubting me." And then Mr. Johan starts to give more proof, which makes everyone believe. And they also realize their mistake, that they shouldn't have doubted Dad and Feli like this. In the next scene, Mr. Johan is calling Feli, but Feli does not pick up his phone. Just then, Mr. Johan gets a call from his manager, Rama. Rama says, "There is a lot of loss due to that news. I mean, all the investors are taking back their investment." So Mr. Johan says, "You issue a statement and explain everything in it, what the truth is." On the other hand, the F4 princes are non-stop saying sorry to Feli on messages and asking her to come back home. But Feli was not answering anyone, but was getting very worried. Just then, Feli gets a notification. When Feli looks, she has also been mentioned on social media by the news people, meaning now Feli's photo has also been put up, on which wrong comments were also being made. So Feli gets even more depressed seeing this and starts looking at Mr. Andre's number. In the next scene, Feli is going somewhere. So Miss Ida asks her, "Feli, where are you going?" So Feli says, "I am going to Mr. Johan's house to meet them all because I have decided that I will live with my biological dad." Hearing this, Miss Ida is happy for Feli. Just then, Feli gets a call from Raga. So Feli says to him, "I am coming to meet you all." So Raga says, "There's no one at home. I am at the garage, so you come there too." So Feli agrees, and then she goes to Raga. So Raga is very happy to see Feli. So Feli says, I have found my biological dad, with whom I will live now. And he lives in another state, so I will have to leave from here too. Hearing this, Raga's mood gets bad, but he reacts in front of Feli as if he is very happy. But from inside, he is very sad. And then he says to Feli, after leaving from here, don't forget me. I mean, we will talk on the mobile every day. So Feli agrees. Then Raga starts teaching Feli to drive his favorite car and says, I have been thinking of teaching you driving for quite some time because you are grown up now, and you should know all this. So Feli agrees, and both sit inside the car. So Raga starts to tell Feli about driving. After this, the F4 princes are standing to say goodbye to Feli, where no one was happy. So Helga says to Raga, can't you stop Feli? So Raga says, this is Feli's decision, so I can't do anything. Just then, Feli comes with her bag packed. So everyone asks Feli, are you really going? So Feli says, yes, because living with my parents has been my dream since childhood. Just then, Mr. Johan also comes to say goodbye to Feli. He also doesn't have the heart to send Feli away from here, but Feli wants it this way, so everyone doesn't force Feli. And then, after a little while, Feli's dad comes to pick her up. So Mr. Johan says to him, please take care of Feli. So Feli's dad says yes, and starts to put the luggage in the car. So Feli says to Mr. Johan, thank you so much for taking care of me like your own children. And then she also greets them and says bye to everyone and leaves. In the next scene, all the F4 princes were missing Feli a lot at night. And on the other hand, Mr. Andre brings Feli to a farmhouse and says, I have some work here for a few days, so now we will stay here for a few days and then go to the other state. So Feli agrees, and both of them start eating food together. So Feli asks a question about her mom. So Mr. Andre says, right now we will not talk about this because then I will start remembering my wife. And then Feli notices that she does not have her mobile. So Mr. Andre says, maybe it was left in the car. I will bring it to you in the morning. So Feli agrees. In the next scene, Mr. Johan is feeling very strange, wondering where Feli's dad came from. That's why he tells his manager to find out about this. After this, Feli remembers that she has another mobile, which Raga had given her. That's why she takes out the mobile, and Raga's message was already there. So Feli sends Raga a picture of the mountain. So Raga says, you are still here. So Feli tells Raga the whole story. Then Feli gets ready and starts to go out to explore this place. But just then, both guards say to Feli, we will also go with you because this is Mr. Andre's order. Hearing this, Feli feels strange, but she's not able to refuse. And then wherever Feli goes, these two guards follow her. Just then, Feli stops at a place and starts looking at the whole view. So Raga video calls her and asks for her location. So Feli tells the location and says, are you coming? So Raga refuses Feli because he wanted to give Feli a surprise. After this, when Raga goes to the location told by Feli, he feels very strange seeing the guards with Feli. And then, Feli also comes back home because she wanted to go out alone. And on the other hand, Raga also secretly wants to go inside to meet Feli. But just then, Raga hears the sound of someone jumping. So Raga quickly goes there, and there is none other than Feli herself. So both are shocked to see each other. And Feli directly hugs Raga because she was missing Raga the most. And then just then, both feel that they are a little too close to each other, so they quickly step back, and then both sit in the car and leave from there. And they go some distance from the house, so Raga asks Feli about the situation. So Feli says, I don't know why Dad has put two guards after me, and if they had seen you, they would not have let me go with you. So Raga says, it's okay, you think positive because you have been missing your dad for so long. So Feli says, there is a lake nearby here. Shall we go there? And then both of them run to the lake and buy ice cream and start eating. Now after eating ice cream, both sit at a place where Feli starts to fix her hair. So Raga says, I will tie your hair. And then with great love, Raga starts to tie Feli's hair. So Feli says, yes, this is absolutely perfect, thanks. So Raga goes in front of Feli and tells her everything and says, I have started to like you. And this is not a friend's love, but I like you as a lover. Hearing this, Feli is stunned and then starts to leave from there in confusion, wondering what to say. But Raga stops her and holding her hand starts to say, I can't live without you. So Feli says, you know I am going to another state, right? So Raga says, so what? For me, it's only important how you feel about me. And I am not forcing you. You just think calmly and tell me about it. So Feli agrees and says, okay, I will think carefully and give you an answer. and Feli also seemed happy to know that Raga likes her. Now, well, at night, Raga drops Feli back home. So Feli goes to her room and messages Raga, "I have come to my room." And then when Feli goes out to drink water, Mr. Andre is talking to someone on a call. So Feli also overhears his conversation, who was telling someone on the call, "I am not Feli's dad, but her distant relative, and I have brought Feli here so that I can earn money by selling her body organs." Hearing this, Feli is shocked and understands that this person is not her dad. And then a glass also falls from Feli's hand, so Mr. Andre also finds out that Feli has heard everything. Just then, Feli quickly runs away. So Mr. Andre calls the guards and tells them Feli has run away. Now as Feli runs out, the guards try to catch her, but Feli quickly gets into the car because Raga had taught her to drive. That's why Feli drives the car and leaves from there. And after going a short distance, she tries to call Raga, but just then those guards also come there, which scares Feli. And she starts the car again, but this time she is not able to start the car. Due to this, Andre catches Feli and drags her out and goes to his house and ties her up. On the other hand, Mr. Johan also finds out that Andre is not Feli's dad. Hearing this, Mr. Johan gets worried and quickly tells Raga everything on a call because Jordan had told Dad that Raga is going to meet Feli. So Mr. Johan tells Raga, Andre is not Feli's real dad, but he is a person who does human trafficking. Hearing this, Raga quickly says he will go there. So Mr. Johan says, don't go there alone, I will inform the police. But Raga does not listen to his dad's words and quickly goes inside that farmhouse secretly. So there, Andre is talking with a lady about selling Feli's organs. Hearing this, Raga gets more worried. Just then, Helga calls and asks for his location, but Raga does not tell because he does not want to see them all in danger. But then after they all insist, Raga sends them the location. Then Raga goes inside to save Feli, where he has a fight with a person. And then when Raga is untying Feli, a person comes and hits Raga hard on the head with a stick, due to which Raga faints. So then that guard also ties up Raga. In the next scene, Jordan, Helga, and Naviro also come to that location. And then the three of them jump over the wall and go inside. And then they secretly start looking for Raga and Feli. After a little while, they find Feli and Raga. So Helga comes inside and starts to untie both of them. But just then, that same guard comes and also catches Helga. Just then, Jordan and Naviro come and hit that guard very hard, due to which that guard falls. So they quickly untie Feli and Raga. And as soon as they get a chance, they get in the car and run away from there, which makes them all very happy. But just then, their car breaks down on the way. So they all get out and look, and the tire has a puncture. After a little while, those same guards also come there. So F4 run in different directions and all hide. So those guards start looking for all of them. Just then, a guard's eyes fall on Feli. As he starts to go towards Feli, Raga comes from behind and starts hitting that guard. But just then, another guard comes there and starts to attack Raga, but Jordan comes and saves Raga and starts hitting that guard. And then the F4 princes together defeat those thugs. In the next scene, when they all go home, Mr. Johan is very happy to see Feli. So Feli says, "Today I am alive only because of all of you." And then she also says thanks. So Mr. Johan asks everyone to sit. And then he says to Feli, "Sorry, I shouldn't have sent you with that person." So Feli says, "It's not your fault in all this." And then Mr. Johan tells everyone to freshen up and himself talks to his manager about giving money to Andre because Andre had asked Mr. Johan for money for not ruining his family. That's why Mr. Johan gets scared and agrees to give them money. But Raga overhears all this and goes and tells everyone else too. Tomorrow Dad will go to meet Andre. Hearing this, everyone makes a plan. In the next scene, Mr. Johan goes and gives Andre that bag of money and says, "Stay away from my family from today." So Andre asks Mr. Johan for his watch, so Mr. Johan gives that watch. So then Andre also asks him for his mobile. So Mr. Johan says, "Are you still not satisfied?" So Andre says, "I am satisfied for today, but in the future, I may need money again." Saying this, as Andre sits in his car, he is not able to start that car. Just then, Raga comes in front of Andre's car with the car's wires. In the next scene, the F4 princes are watching the news where we find out that Andre has been arrested. So Helga tells Feli, "In 2 days, it's Raga's birthday, and like every time, this time too, he will celebrate his birthday at the shop." Hearing this, Feli becomes happy and decides to do something special. In the next scene, Feli again comes to school with the F4 princes, and they are also walking behind Feli like private bodyguards. So seeing this, the whole school is shocked, and Maria was also surprised to see all this. And then when Feli is having lunch, Maria comes and says to Feli, "I want to become your friend again." But Feli does not believe her words. Just then, Shania also comes and supports Feli's words and tells Maria to leave. But Maria does not leave and says to Feli, "When the news spread everywhere that Feli is Mr. Johan's illegitimate daughter, Mr. Johan suffered a huge loss in business because of it. I mean, you're staying with Mr. Johan's family is not right at all. You are unlucky for that family." Hearing this, Feli starts to think about her words. In the next scene, finally, the day of Raga's birthday comes. So Jordan takes Feli to the parlor, and there Feli gets a very good makeover. When Jordan sees Feli, he praises her a lot, and then takes her to the party, where the party has already started. And the F4 princes are also very happy. Just then, Feli comes in front of Raga to wish him a happy birthday, so Raga looks at Feli with love, and then extends his hand to dance. But Feli does not dance with Raga, but ignores him. Just then, Feli's friends also come there, so Feli starts talking to them. And Hema also comes and takes Feli to a side and tells her about his feelings. Hearing this, Feli is shocked because she does not consider Hema more than a friend. That's why she refuses Hema, which makes Hema sad. And then he says sorry to her for telling his feelings. And then, as Feli comes out, Raga stops her and starts to ask for his answer about the feelings. But Feli flatly refuses and leaves from there. Hearing this, Raga becomes sad and starts to remember memories related to Feli. And on the other hand, Feli is sitting at a place and crying because she also didn't feel good breaking Raga's heart. But just then, Raga comes there and says, "Yes, I am very stupid, dumb. I admit that I get angry over every little thing, but I have really started to like you a lot. That's why I can't see you crying at all." And then he starts to console Feli with great love. So Feli explains to him and says, "I can't come into your family because doing so will cause problems in your family." Hearing this, Raga says, "No, that won't happen. And even if it does, I will face all the problems for your sake. Just tell me your true feelings. Do you really not feel anything for me? If that's the case, I will distance myself from you." Hearing this, Feli also confesses her feelings and says, "I like you too." Hearing this, Raga becomes very happy and directly hugs Feli and says thanks to her and says, "I will make your life as beautiful as a butterfly." Hearing this, Feli also becomes very happy and both are about to kiss each other. Just then, Jordan, Naviro, and Helga come there, who had heard everything, that Feli has accepted Raga's love proposal, and then they congratulate both of them. So Feli says, "I have also rejected the adoption proposal, and from now on I will live in the orphanage." So the F4 princes also agree to Feli's words because now Feli has become Raga's girlfriend, so how can she live as their sister now? And then they all hug each other. In the next scene, they all go back home to make Raga's birthday special. So there with Mr. Johan is the same lady who was talking with Andre that day about selling Feli's organs. And seeing all this, Feli is shocked, and the ending of this drama happens right here.